Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Nino Kuni. So it's asking us if we want to go forward to put the stones back into the wand. So I have to assume that that is going to lead to yet another boss battle, which is kind of weird because we've kind of had three boss battles in a row. There was definitely an opportunity where we could have had to wander around this island more to find this location, but we accidentally had already found the location, so we just used the travel magic to shortcut us. But even with that, it still would be like two fights in a row. May we begin this ceremony, Oliver? See, it's just really weird to have to begin to be asked yes or no here when so many other times you're not really asked that question. Sure, ready when you are, Your Highness. Plus, narrative wise, they haven't said what the ceremony is or how it's going to be difficult or if it's going to be difficult. Oliver, do you know of a spell named Rejuvenate? Yeah, I think we have that. Sure, I do. It turns back the clock for objects to before they were old or broken. Well, it is the memory retained within the object that is being revived. Only the spell breach time allows time itself to be manipulated. Now, I believe that Rejuvenate should be able to restore the magic stones to a state that were in 15 years ago. Oh, I get it. That way they'll be the same as the Morning Star from 15 years ago. Now, arguably, that means Oliver could have done this without her. Indeed. I will need to combine the spell Rejuvenate with the ritual required to reunite the stones with Morning Stars. So I guess there's more to the ritual. Flipping heck. Wouldn't that be a bit of a stretch, even for you, your heavenliness? It will not be easy, and I understand why Marquisian balked at the challenge, but I believe that I can do this. For you. Dot dot dot. This, I suppose, could be the point where accidentally, and they don't want to spoil it, you get sent back really far in the past. That would be something that would make sense as far as how this game feels so close to being done, and yet it feels like there should just be a lot more content, and that is pretty typical of a JRPG to have time travel as a cliche at this point. Um, and so, but I kind of don't see the full logic of warning a player um, without really warning the player. If they were gonna pop up a yes no thing, sure, an average Japanese player would probably see that something big is about to happen, but if this were supposed to be a kids RPG, they should just spell it out, and you can still do it fairly cryptically. Um, you could say once you start the spell, uh, the story will take a significant change, and you won't be able to finish any quests or side quests for a while. Just really lay out what's about to happen without going into full detail. Thank you, Your Highness. Now, without further ado, let the ritual commence. Hmm. And so we're gonna get some voice acted animated cutscene, but not Ghibli animation. That seems like that is completely out the picture. So it really isn't even a case that the Ghibli animation stopped being added in the second game. It stopped being added about halfway through development of the first game. That is odd. We've just trained the Morningstar with no struggle at all. That seems really weird unless we're gonna get attacked by Shadar. Hmm. Yeah, and it's gonna get tiring, so to say the least, if we constantly have to feel like there's going to be a twist, a trick in the story, and it just never happens. I mean, all evidence points to there has to be a lot more game here. There's at least two more cities. Um, The ritual is complete. You now hold the Mornstar in its true form. Please consult your wizard's companion. The one's power has restored new pages with new spells for you to use. So we now have Healing Hand, which I assume maybe restores either your familiar's health. No, couldn't be that because your familiar's health is shared with the main character's health. So it probably just costs more spell power, magic power, and heals more. Maybe heals all three of them at once. Fortune's Fool. Who knows what that does? A lot of these spells we really only used once or twice. Unleash. Jeepers, these spells look so neat. The spell known as Unleash will prove very useful to you, I am certain. Doubtless you have done battle with creatures known as guardians, whose poor hearts have been broken by Shadar. When you defeat them, you received certain gemstones, did you not? That's right, they dropped them big jewels, ain't it, Holly boy? These gems are symbols of the Guardian's gratitude and contain a part of their spirit and life force. Jeepers. By using Unleash, you can channel the energies which reside into the gems and call upon the Guardian's strength in battle. With their power at your command, you'll be able to hold your own even against Shadar. Interesting. So, potentially in any difficult fight, I could just use Unleash. And I'm assuming I can do it multiple times. Otherwise, I have like 12 chances, and 12 may be actually enough for the rest of the game anyways. Thank you, Your Highness. That sounds like it'll come in real handy. That doesn't sound too shabby, does it, Oliver? Shadal will be quaking in his boots. We may also find, though, that we only use the Unleash spell once or twice in the game, and it unleashes all of the Guardian's power at once. You're now better equipped to face Shadar in battle, but a serious obstacle stands between you and any such encounter. Oh, here we flipping go. What is it this time? Shadel dwells within the castle of Nevermore. It lies north of here, beyond the miasma marshes. Oh, so we now know where Shadar is. He's in one of the two cities that I was thinking of. Should a careless travel be engulfed by the dark miasma from which the marshes are known, they will be lost forever. Wait a second, the miasma marshes, what is it, Esther? Have you heard of them? It's something my father once spoke of. He told me of a mist that was so dark that no light could penetrate it, the miasma. He said the only way to clear it was the call of the clarion. The clarion, I remember you saying that we'd be the ones to play it again, Esther. So now is the clarion a upgraded harp for Esther? That kind of makes sense. Like we've finally upgraded Oliver to the 3rd tier weapon. Let's now move the story forward to get Esther a 3rd tier weapon, and then almost certainly we'll get the Swains a 3rd tier weapon. Yes, the clarion is a symbol of peace that was created by the 3 kings of this world. Now, what was the rhyme? In Ding Dong Dale, they carved full well that old Mamuni wood, and bear it then to Hamlin to make it sound so good. So, we need to get some old Mamuni wood, take it to Ding Dong Dell so they can carve it, which would explain why we heard all those carpentry sounds in Ding Dong Dell behind all the doors, which is really stupid reason to be annoyed by carpentry sounds the whole time throughout the entire game. And then we take it to Hamlin. I'm impressed by your knowledge, Esther, but then you are the daughter of a great sage. Oh, it's just a rhyme I learned when I was little. So if we give this clarion a good honk, it'll clear the path across the miasma marshes, will it? That is correct. And the first thing you requires to make a clarion is the holy wood, that old Mamuni wood. I think it's time we paid the Caliph a visit. So, achievement collected. That is weird. Hmm. I want to ask. Let's see. Seems like somebody has a new quest. This guy wanted the cold pack, so we know that. But then. Hmm? We have to talk to this guy. Hmm. Hello, I want you to do something for me. I'm something starving. Can you hear my tummy rumbling? Might I have a tasty morsel for a hungry alpaca? Oh, so you want some food, huh? I'm sorry, Mr. Alpaca, but what do you eat? My kind are fed hay morning, noon, and night, but I have grown tired of the frankly one-dimensional taste and uninviting texture. In the midst hint is the merest hint of luxury too much to ask? A gourmet treat, perhaps. A gourmet treat, huh? Precisely. Would it be so long for a humble alpaca to sample the delights of a juicy babana from Al-Mumuni? How the heck has how the heck has he heard about babanas? Well, never flipping no. Ahem. There was a merchant who once came here. Amongst his wares were fresh babanas. Ever since I first set my eyes on them, they have captivated me. I simply must try one. Might you be willing to provide me with one? Bring me a babana, and I'm sure you can find something similarly desirable to offer you in exchange. Okay, sure, just wait there. Thank you, my tummy is rumbling with anticipation. Nom nom, this is nom delicious. It's so sweet and soft and fruity. I already had one in my inventory, by the way. It makes for a change from hay, I can tell you. Look at him gobble it down. It's babana heaven, he is. Hey, yeah, he sure does seem to be enjoying it. Nom nom nom. Oh, that was delicious, but having experienced such a gastronomic marvel, it's clear to me that what I've been missing, I must taste further delights. Still hungry, greedy, great hairy lump? Let me see. What do I want to eat for my next course? I know, a glow shrimp. Hold on, Furface. How did the alpaca in the middle of the flipping mountains come to hear of a rare and exotic type of seafood? Then that the merchants who come to Perdine often speak of strange and wonderful food. They don't think I can understand, but I am listening. So I have one of those in my inventory, by the way. The Harry's Blight's got an answer for everything. What's funny is I suspect he's actually a genie and he's eating these foods to do some kind of alchemy in his stomach and de-transform himself. That would be what I would write. I say it's a glow shrimp. How delightful. I can't wait to taste it. This is so exquisite. Otherwise, this is just a quest that would make us run around all the cities on top of other quests that are going to make us run around all the cities. I've never tasted anything quite like this. It's tender and succulent and leaves a delightful tang on my tongue. So, this is why people make such a fuss about seafood. Listen to the way the hairball is carrying on. He's quite the culinary connoisseur, ain't he? He sure seems to know a lot about food. Um, that was a real treat. Now to my next course. Next course, this ain't some flipping fancy restaurant, you cheeky so and so. Are you sure eating all this unusual food won't give you a stomachache? Thank you for concern, but I shall be fine. Next course, I would like to sample a black truffle from Hamlin. You know what? Do you know how much those flipping things cost? Cost from. I find the subject distasteful. Flavor is all that matters for me. But if you think money is more important than a hungry alpaca's humble dream, I guess I can bring you a black truffle. Do I have one? Yes, I do. Oh, that smell of musknut stung. It must be a black truffle. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this, I assure you. Nom nom. This is extra nom ordinary. Oh, gulp. Flipping heck, I never thought I'd live to see an alpaca gorging himself on a black truffle. There can be no mistake, the black truffle is indeed the king of foods. We probably should remember what we fed him too, because it may be something we should mix and match. Uh, is richly fragrant and boasts a flavorful flavor of incomparable depth, a taste for the true connoisseur. Jeepers. He sure does know his food, and some real fancy words, too. But the texture was nothing special. That being the case, the next delicacy should like to try is the legendary crunchy snow radish of Yule. Bah, got the bit by the teeth now, hasn't he? How long is this greedy furred going to keep on eating? At this point, we may hit a limit of what we can feed him because he may have some city and some food that we haven't even found yet. He still seems pretty hungry. I can't wait for the next course, my tummy rumbling in anticipation. Inherently, you have a problem here where most players were expected to only have one of those items in their inventory, and so they wouldn't have had to read all that dialogue, but good players would have had some spare items in their inventory, and they would have ended up doing what I'm doing, which is just reading all the dialogue in one go. Oh, you brought me a snow radish. Then without further ado, I'm gonna tuck in. Om nom nom. That crispy, crunchy texture is just so moish, and the snow radishes are good for you too. Its delightful iciness sends tingles down my spine. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I do declare that I have eaten enough. My belly is fit to burst. Thank you for indulging my whims and taking this humble alpaca on a whirlwind culinary tour of the world. Before you delivered those delicate morsels, I had tasted only hay and a shoe out of curiosity. Rest assured, I shan't forget the flavors you have so kindly introduced me to. Now, I promised that I would reward you, and so I have. Here you go. A leech gem and 2,500 guilders. Which that reward is not really worth it, but getting stamp cards done is. There's more. I have a fine formula for the use in your alchemical experiments. Use it to make something tasty and for free. Feel free to drop by and share it with me anytime. He's got some blinking cheek. Does he think of nothing but his stomach or what? Okay. So if we look here, the number of spells that are blacked out are getting pretty small. We still have a decent number of alchemy formulas, though, and that are blacked out. And we still have a decent number of stories that are blacked out. Then the new formulas. Princess Chocolate. Ooh. Guess we can start to see it now if we convert any regular chocolates into chocolate bonbons, then snowdrop bonbons, and then go all the way to Princess Chocolate. You can see it goes from a 5 green to a 6 blue. So theoretically, it might very well have been a case where you would have been better off not feeding anything or increasing familiarity on any character at all. He seems to have fully upgraded everything to the max because, well, at least that would be my guess. Like, not really expecting there to be a 7-star, yet another upgrade. And Tutti Frutti ice cream here, stops at number 42, and then it goes to Jumbo Sundrop at 43. So there really isn't any other room for that. And yet there is oddly something between 37 and 40. There's 3 things, obviously. I do question something as far as equipment here. This is called a cloud sweeper, not a clarion. But I wonder if this is what the clarion is going to be. Is something that is a magic broom that flies around and then has maybe a cloud sweeper attached to it before that point. Alright, well, I want to see what's behind here, and I wonder if this is just an exit to the area. Once you're listening, you need to clear in before we can go crossing the miasma. Okay, so we cannot go that way. Good to know. I'm in a weird position. Oh, let me double check to make sure I know where I'm supposed to be going here. Get holy wood from the Alma Mooney. Okay. So that is Alma Moon. There's an interesting point here, certainly, to ask about. Should I run around now or later? Let's see, fortune enabled. And let's look at these new spells too. Well, oddly, none of them seem to be this kind of spell, everyday spell. Healing hand. Completely heals even the gravest wounds for 18 versus heals some. Fortune's full and entrust the caster's fate to a higher power who know what might happen. Interesting. And then unleash seems to be something that costs no magic power at all. And yet it requires considerable mental strength. It is weird that you can't cast Form Familiar. Like, it would kind of make some sense to constantly be able to just summon familiars throughout the land. Alright. Come on. Drippy is getting in the way. That's a pretty big reward. Really does have me wonder. Yeah, unless something changes, wandering around this area is going to be the equivalent of wandering around with no creatures, because they're just not going to chase after you and attack you. And trying to grind or fight is not going to get you very far. It would be way more helpful if those spells were in different orders. This is the spell I'm going to be using way more than anything else. Right. I'm hoping it's here. Noble attire. Interesting. Can I run all the way to where I need to go? You would think that this higher area would have way stronger familiars, and that running around looking for these treasure chests would be a great way to encounter special monsters or stronger monsters. Hmm. Hmm. But it definitely does not feel like that's the case. Hmm. Hmm. Getting specific gems is wasteful because you're not going to have enough of them to the point where you're actively picking and choosing a like very custom build for your creatures and trying to make the best version of your creature. Hmm. This is gonna get really boring really fast doing the same spells over and over again. Okay. See if we can reach this other one. Or if we have to fly up. Hmm. Yeah, there's definitely a problem here of having boring gameplay mechanic combined with boring gameplay mechanic. 10 bars of milk chocolate. That seems like a ridiculously high reward. Hmm. We'll just land here and see what has the spell worn off yet. Man, they really did just put Seek Fortune in the absolute worst spot. Just absolute worst spot. I kind of feel like if you're going to have a case of a bunch of creatures running around as the game goes on, as the player levels up, you should probably start to see the number of creatures reduce and the strength of the remaining creatures increase. I would much prefer to fight uh, one level 100 character versus 100 level 1 characters. And there probably is a slightly better balance between those two numbers, anyways, but the general concept remains the same. I'm not sure. I can land and be in the right place. I guess you can. And just the glowing stuff doesn't quite make the most sense. And Old Smoky has like this icon around it now. I guess the trick here is you press X, then you press right on the D-pad, and that will jump you directly to Seek Fortune. Phoenix Feather. So, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we're kind of wasting some time here, because we're going to end up having to come back to this whole Old Smoky area and fight everything a couple times. Second time, I need to still be kind of careful not to accidentally walk into something. Burning Blade. With the newest Pokemon games, as of this recording, being announced and moving to more of an open world style of gameplay and not jumping into fight scenes instead, I'm kind of hoping that that might be a game changer in general for most RPGs and JRPGs in particular. So we get a massive reduction in games that heavily rely on logging into uh, going into a fight sequence and showing that loading and showing that um, time wasting aspect. Of course, there's lots and lots of other time wasting aspects that still need to be addressed. Is it in this corner? Tapping the A button. Should be. Yeah, and I guess it's just on the other side of that. So we have to run all the way around. This spell lasts way too short. We also need to start thinking about purple chests. If I have the Mornstar now, there shouldn't be a limitation. And we should be able to, I think, be free to capture and collect all the treasure throughout the entire world. At least I'm hoping that's the case. But at some point, we are going to have to make a special effort to go around the entire world and make sure we've been to every village, native village. Because there's going to be green ones that we haven't collected. on top of the purple chests. The hope is this is the right location. Yes, it is. Pointy hat. I suspect we probably need to get something over here. Let's see. Cast the spell again. Yep. This should, at the very least, clear out this middle island. And every time we're in a general new area, we can clear out another island, I'm hoping. Let's see. There's a chest over here. There's a chest up there. And a chest. A little water's not going to stop me, so unless I make a mistake, this should be fairly quick and easy. Theoretically, I could go into that area and get the purple chest. But we should be fairly certain first. Let's go in here. I have no idea what I remember what this was, but I suspect this is the guy that said he'd teach us some real alchemy when we learned. Right, so spring lock now works and gave us a new item. Visitor, we don't get many visitors. Yeah, he just says come back when you've done even more alchemy, which let's just double check that we couldn't get over some percentage with our alchemy items that we've collected so far. This is gonna really suck. There's no way to sort this, is there? To say you've done, like, which ones you can actually do with the ingredients you have right now. Make a stalwart scale, and I think that was already the case. Make a breezy cloak, which will make one. Yeah, I really question how you're going to get all these ingredients. Unless you just start fighting a lot of creatures and they start dropping a lot of things. Can make a couple of those. I don't think there's any reason to not make those. But I would need more yogurt. We do know we want to upgrade things. So, at least that teaches us that much. Yeah, as far as alchemy completion, we're at 18% now. And I don't suspect that crafting those two things was what increased our alchemy. Yeah. So yeah, we could get purple chests, which will give us items. And arguably we may be stupidly premature about opening the purple chests. I seriously doubt the purple chest will ever reset. And I do question whether we would have ended up with more better rewards if we waited till the very last second. But arguably at the very last second you'll be so close to the end of the game anyways that getting very high rewards is not going to be very valuable to you. Hmm. 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 All right. That's interesting. I thought I opened that chest. I don't see a real reason to not get that last one, and then we'll go to Alma Moon. Of course, the problem now is we got several pieces of equipment, and there's just no telling if something we got might actually be better for somebody. I think the best way you could do it is X. Nope, you can't do it that way, can you? Well, this is better. I don't want to put it on that character, though. More defense. Is there somebody else with a better item that we could do that would increase their defense more? Oh man, that just sucks. It really just sucks. It's too much work. Yep, and if I think it's too much work, I'm just gonna, you know what, just forget it. There's a possibility of the 3 or 4 items we got there that something would be an upgrade, but honestly, if it's not going to be something that I struggle with, I should just not care. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. To save myself the frustration, wait until there's a point where I'm potentially dying against bosses and enemies, and only at that point start to either buy new equipment or try to equip new equipment. In fact, it's very possible that I could have just ignored the idea of upgrading anything and would, in general, have way more than 15,000 gold at this point. Hmm. 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 So we need to find somebody with some love. We are seeing fewer and fewer of these stores around. And these are fairly cheap, so having them in your inventory is probably not a huge mistake. Even though these are just kind of items that they're not even ingredients, so having these items is pointless. Let's see. So we'll waste a little bit of gold there. Buying those. We'll come over here. And we'll see if we've got some new quests. We can see there is quite a few new quests. Although I may have already seen all of those. Some new bounty hunts. This is Winter Isles, Summerlands, Western Rolling Hills. Hmm. We have 3 merit awards. Which we need 1 more card done. And then we should take this to recover health through walking. I think that will save me a lot of magic in the long run. And then XP later, I think, is the next one to do. Although maybe save on magic first. Increasing the drop rate of rare and valuable items would probably be nice too. We have no ideas about this one though. It's kind of odd that the shop there doesn't let you buy anything. It seems like you could kind of have 2 people in one store and sell some other items. It's also very possible that there's a purple chest to the side of any of these shopkeepers, and I kind of feel like we're going to have to be fairly careful about that also. Okay. I think at this point, you probably want just about 10 of everything. I will give you a decent setup, certainly, as far as any alchemy. And then we should probably do any alchemy we can do at the moment. And then bounce everything back up to 10. I don't think it's ever going to get any cheaper. I don't think we're going to hit a point where we get better versions in the storefront, although we probably should. I don't have any interest in experimenting. Okay, we may very well scroll through all of this and find that there's kind of nothing we can make that we want to make. Make a cyclone cloak. One is already in the bag. Right, before we do anything else, we were at 18% before. Are we still at 18%? Oh, by the way, we found half of the hidden treasures. Yes, we have. Yeah, we're still at 18%. So that does tell me that there is no major improvement by doing a bunch of alchemy to increase your alchemy amounts. That percentage clearly has something else. Does mean something else. Hmm. And I'm just not going to make a star drop at all. That wouldn't make sense. Shadow glass knife. We'll make one of those. I don't want to make duplicate weapons. Let's see. Because clearly some of these ingredients are used in multiple weapon creations. Hmm. 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 We got a couple things we could create, but not a lot. Honestly, I suspect going back and we could buy. I don't even want to buy iced coffee. I'll get that up to 10, but only because I'm hoping that there's some way to get better coffees. This almost certainly is a waste of money to have 10 of all of these items. But maybe if I have a whole bunch of these in my inventory, then the drops will decide to go in different directions. Right. So that wasn't terrible. And I won't bother to go back to the weapon salesman and buy more weapons that we used in crafting. Well, I guess the father is dark skinned. Wow, I'd forgotten that. And yeah, come to think of it, it does make some sense that I had already talked about that, because I thought it was very weird that Esther was this light skinned daughter of his. It still creates this weird point where there really are barely two dark skinned characters. Here we have some tanned little boys, but then you have pale white uh, characters, and you see the pale white character model used quite a bit. Really, it is this body model in particular that stands out. If it didn't exist, that would have never even been an issue. Everybody else does look a little bit accurately tan for what is supposedly supposed to be a Middle Eastern um, style city. Yeah, maybe she's a little pale, but and then you have this like unique character model that we've kind of forgotten completely about. Hmm. Hmm. He hasn't increased his available offerings. I wouldn't be super surprised if we do get a more Ghibli-esque animation, because we are going back to some of the areas that were at the very beginning of the game. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we don't. It's nice to see you again, Your Majesty. I say you have returned. Now tell me, boy, have you located the handsome young man in the pictures we so generously gave you? Yes, we found him, Your Majesty, and now Prince Marquisian's back to his old self. The picture of yours came in the proper useful in the end, Your Majesty. I completely have forgotten about the fact that she was involved in that at all. Even if you did only have it because you had a crush on the poor lad. We are most pleased to hear that you accomplished your aims, but what brings you back to us, pray tell? Your Majesty, have you heard of the Clarion? Indeed we have. Are we to take it that you acquire the aforementioned instrument? Is the time finally at hand? That's right, Your Majesty. We need it to cross the miasma marshes. Interesting. Uh, Worth pointing out that um, there is that whole first Temple of Trials that now has those separate battles as extra content, and almost certainly I will never get back to doing those. They could potentially give some kind of reward, much like the casino could potentially give some kind of reward, but boy, does this game not need to have extra content considering how the main content is lackluster, in my opinion. I also knocked my mouse and that moved the camera, which allows you to, I guess, pan just a little bit here. Abul, you heard the young man. Fetch the you know what this instance. Yes, your most beautiful bovinity, bountiful bovinity. Yeah, I have no idea why they love to do the voice acting at the end. You've obtained a piece of holy wood. Guard that wood with your lives, won't you now? Who can say how long it will take for another branch like that to grow? Geez, thanks, Your Majesty. This means we can battle with Shadar. So you really intend to face him? Tell us, are you familiar with the events of the Wizard Wars? Yes, Your Majesty, I've heard something about them. The whole world was at war, wasn't it? It was the most protracted and bloody affair, and at the end of it, only three kings remained: Al Mamoon, Ding Dong Dell, and Hamlin. The three ruling families vowed to keep the peace, and the clarion served to symbolize their sacred pledge. But when the shadow of the Dark Jinn fell across the world, our three kingdoms were driven into a simply frightful series of disputes. In retrospect, it is most unfortunate we did not join forces and make a new clarion back then. Join forces, Your Majesty. That's right, boy. Now, if I recall correctly, you've already visited each of the three kingdoms. That's right, Your Majesty. We were close. We're close personal friends of the Berg cheese in every kingdom. It amuses me to think that a dear little boy should be the one to mend the bridges between our kingdoms. Thanks, Your Majesty. Yes, thanks, Your Majesty. We'd love to stay and chat, but this clarion won't make itself. Shall we head over to the next kingdom? Yes, it's time to go to Ding Dong Dell and see King Tom. Hmm. I kind of feel like you probably should have another battle with each of the leaders of the city. But I don't know if that's really going to happen. All right. Here's a thought. Let's talk to every single person in this city as we leave, just in case one of them has an alchemy spell. Because if anybody would be standing around waiting to give me an alchemy spell, it almost certainly would be somebody. Yeah, it almost certainly would be somebody either in this city or Ding Dong Dell. Kind of feels like there should have been some kind of reward, even if it was just a small amount of coins. Um, By the way, we've totally missed the ghost character, wherever he's hiding. I almost certainly would have never found that. That was luckiness, pure and simple. Hmm. Hmm. And we talked to the people, the shopkeepers. Hmm. This inherently shows the catch-22 of video games and NPC characters. That yes, you don't want a city to be completely empty of characters, and you don't want to have NPCs be completely designed so you can't even interact with them, but that just significantly increases the amount of work you have to do because of that, where you're end up having to write at least a single line of dialogue for every single character, or you have the NPCs say very generic lines of dialogue like "go away." Do I have love? Actually, I do. All right. Well, we can finish this quest now. I don't know what the real solution to that really is. Like, on one hand, yes, you could make NPC people that just say, go away, I don't want to talk to you. In a lot of point and click adventure games. Oh, I just got another achievement. Interesting. So that may be. It says it's for doing 50 different errands. So there may be like 75 in total. Or there may be 100. Um, that's all I really needed. So probably wouldn't hurt to buy another flint dagger just in case. I'll just look around here just to make sure it's not a treasure chest. So, yeah. In point and click adventure games, you would try to talk to some non important background character, and you would just get the main character saying they don't look like they want to talk to me, or they don't have anything to say. It would be more of a narrative answer um, to that problem, certainly. And I guess that would lead to to some success. If you did simply have the main character wave away the idea of talking to regular NPCs, but then that stops the game from quite feeling like a RPG and takes away the role-playing possibilities. Let's see. If you look at dangerous places, the cities themselves are not included in that. So, yeah. As far as task completion, we're at 60%, so that does seem to imply that there's slightly less than 100. Somewhere around 90 tasks. Right. We have several bounties we need to do, but it is going to be kind of hard to see the bounty because I don't think they show up on the map. And I don't think they show up when you're flying. So yeah, we'll just have to walk this way and see if on the mini map we can see something. Or I could have just fast traveled the Ding Dong Dell. And I guess that is a question to ask. Is, do I want to fast travel to Ding Dong Dell? Or do I want to go through this forest? Particularly this forest, because I just don't think there's too much here. Hmm. 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 Let's see. It says Golden Grove. It says 0 question mark 0 question mark instead of dash dash. And a percentage explored. That does tell me that there's a green somewhere around here. And so we're going to have to just keep our eyes open for greens and purples as far as treasure chests. And see how that turns out. That potentially could have been the only one. Yep, that was one of one. So there's one green somewhere around here to find. But we also know that there's a treasure chest. I mean a robot, an ancient robot. Oh yeah, and we haven't even seen these kinds of characters since leaving this area. They are just like one hit wonders. So if there wasn't a green in that area, it's either going to be in the center area, this left area, or somewhere else. Yeah. Actually, I guess there could be quite a few places it could be. Just try to keep an eye open. Although that's kind of hard. In all fairness, I will say video games probably should try a little bit harder to have a forest dungeon more often. Like you can see how these hills and trees have made walls, keeping the uh, general concept of a dungeon there, while visually making it look like something very different. If I was to try and form familiar here, nothing happens. Yeah. Yeah, that's a shame. Because there clearly needs to be some system, and I think there will be a system eventually that unlocks to get more familiars instead of just running around and trying to capture them all. Maybe Esther's will get a new weapon, and that will let her potentially capture all the familiars in a fight. So it might be capturing 3 things at once. That seems a little excessive, certainly, but that would be a way to speed up the process. Hmm. Hmm. But I honestly don't think that's really what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is we'll find some kind of shop in which we can buy familiars with tickets, and we end up playing a pseudo gotcha game where we just spend a lot of in-game currency to capture familiars. I would also assume that if there was an important bounty hunt creature, they would be on the map, but I could be wrong. This is a really great way to just waste the player's time right now. This is going to suck because we're going to end up like failing miserably. Hmm. We can see the 3 little stones are inside of his um, wand, so I assume we have the upgraded wand equipped. Yeah, it would really, really suck if we go through this entire area and I still don't find the green treasure chest because it's just too well hidden. Which we do now know that the game will do that to you. It seems more than willing to hide something like really high up in a corner where you're highly unlikely to ever look. And it's not like this game gives you the greatest of camera control. Anyways. So even if you are actively trying to see it, there's room for failure. Yep, we still have these robots as a question. That would really suck if the robots are just a tease for a sequel. I suppose it's only fair to say at this point I have resigned myself to not playing Ni no Kuni 2. This game has been, up until this point, a fairly big disappointment as being since it was sold as being more of a Ghibli game, and you really aren't feeling Ghibli's heart that you would in a real Studio Ghibli movie in this narrative, in this story. Plus, in all fairness, a Ghibli movie only has to go maybe 2.5 hours. This game has to go 44 hours plus, probably a lot more than that. Um, and so I've not been satisfied on what it was sold on. It feel pretty much the second I started saying bait and switch, that was the second that the the charm had lost its charm, or the game had lost its charm on me. Um, and honestly, that was probably about 10 hours into gameplay. Um, and it's incredibly easy to, at this point, make the decision not to play any further Ni no Kuni games, knowing that Studio Ghibli, I don't believe, is involved in any of the future Ni no Kuni, and knowing that they were barely involved in this one. Um, Knowing how this played, knowing that the main characters, even in this game, are not really the main characters in the future games. Right, well, that sucked. So we think there is a green chest in there, and I just did not find it. Or I think. And again, I don't see the bounty hunt on the map. Probably do a seek fortune. Yeah, there is quite a lot of them. Hmm. Hmm. Come on. 3 loaves of white bread. Hmm. Okay. So I think they want me to land here. And then go here. Let's see if there's a forest dweller area there. No. Get that one. Hmm. Seek fortune has worn off. This will be the first fight we've done in an hour and 20 minutes, pretty much. Or real fight. Shellfire. Hmm. Alright. And then slash and burn. Slash and burn, not the right attack for him. Let's see what spells we can do. We might as well see how this goes. It's a whole second sub menu. So 36 on this guy. So these are supposed to be like finisher moves. And that did 100, did a lot more than it, a lot less than it should have. See what Fortune's Full does. That seems like that casts a random spell. Hmm. Single ally's health. Same as a single. Okay. I didn't mean to do Fortune's Fuel again. And I just did a healing spell. Unleash. Something there weird happened. So we can do the same unleash over and over again, which does imply what I think would happen here is we would probably start to see a probably would start to see a case where we'll fight the Guardians a couple of times to get even stronger attacks out there. Hmm. Oddly, my all-out attack is not working. Like, I'm hitting the Y button, and it just does not want to do anything. Water cannon, if I had spells. Suffice it to say, this is a big... Yeah, my guy is not doing anything. You know what I think I want to do is I want to just play as this character and switch over and just see what Oliver does. Guy has just a massive amount of defense, I think is a problem. Let's see if we have Esther. Yeah, I still have yet to really figure out the whole chance system. Okay. This is just not working, so... Oh, I'm hoping strong coffee is good enough. These bounty hunts definitely are in a different field of their own as far as their level of difficulty. 40 for 6. Probably is better. Hmm. 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 Oh, I need to cast a spell. Hmm. I can't do that, so I need to. Phoenix Breaths. It's wasteful, certainly, but let's do it. Yeah, I need to get away from this guy or he's gonna kill me. Spell. Heal myself. Yeah, my Mighty really is the best character I've got doing 5 or 6 uh, damage per swipe. Like, my only hope is I can potentially stun lock him. Like, you can see these other guys are not really doing anything. Song. Got nothing. Provision. Wings feather. Let's try this guy, I guess. I am about to die again. This is not working well. Alright, provisions. Fully restore HP with a tonic. Interesting. 100 to all party members. With that. None of these unleashes are cheap. So we are hitting a point where reducing the cost of spells may be the better move. Particularly if we are in a situation which you're often going to be in, where it makes a lot more sense to do a single spell and do that in a timely manner than try to do 4 or 5 of the other kinds of spells. All right. And it really does not seem like there's an increased cooldown on using the unleash spells. That went badly, to say the least. Okay. So if I get the ability that I don't even have enough to look around for other fortunes. So let's just fly out of here. If I got the ability to walk around and refill your health first, that would be helpful after the fight. But in the more I think about it, I actually need to reduce the spell cost because that's more helpful in the fight and more helpful in general. Again, I'll talk to everybody. You just really don't know if hmm. These travelers have been all around the world. Hmm. Pull up the map. This city is kind of awkwardly laid out. And we still have reason to go in the well, but I think I would kind of prefer to not go in the well first at the moment. And instead come back to it later. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, we definitely are not getting a lot of rewards for talking to people. There's 3 more quests that we've yet to start. Go ahead and claim that bounty. Should see if that Fiend Fang actually is useful. Hmm. Yeah, this is the one to get. We can't quite afford it yet. We need to do one more thing, but being a reducing the magical power is way better than getting the health refill. Um, and in fact, it may be better to even get better experience and higher experience because then that too would be health refill instead of just walking around to refill your health. And we're probably just not want to be too greedy, so we'll wait till we get this and this and this, and then we'll think about getting this. And this can be second to last or last even. Right, so we need to do one more errand. I'm hoping we can pull that off. There's nothing new to do here. There's a cat lady over there. Can you talk to that cat lady? Let's see. Do we have enough to spring a lock even? Okay. Logically, it would make more sense to simply to sleep and refill your magic that way, but I don't want to walk all the way to the hotel. Probably would be cheaper to have gone to the hotel also. Yeah, the lady up here you can't talk to. I do kind of question if there is possibly a green treasure chest that I've missed. Let's see. Yeah, 180 gold for that. That's ridiculous. Bumbling honey is new. Hmm. If anything, it probably would make some sense to um, buy more than 10 of the unique to that specific city ingredient. Because clearly there is a unique to specific cities ingredients. But it is just so much of nothing. It's so obvious that that's the case where the only reason there's a unique item in each city is because they wanted to have an excuse to make you go into each shop. Just have to scroll through so much. I definitely imagine a scenario where we'll have to just go even crazier. Um, like intentionally running around to collect a bunch of items to try and craft things. Yeah. Let's also ask a question. Nope, that guy still is not leveled up enough. Hmm. Some of these lines of dialogues are somewhat helpful. They're mentioning forest dwellers, for instance. Hmm. Yeah, if there's a green chest, though, anywhere in the city, it would be very sneakily placed, very high up, I'm sure. Hmm. 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 This one has love in his heart. Hmm. Which we'll take. Honestly, it feels like they've chosen to really just give us love quests and only love quests instead of resetting everything and making us do multiple quests. And that started the cutscene, so off to see the Cat King, is it? Ah, this place really takes me back. It was the first time we visited together, wasn't it? Listen, I'm sure you're enjoying your trip down memory lane, but we got business to take care of. I hate to say it, but Swain's right. We need to complete the Clarion. That means getting this holy wood. Huh? But how? What's the matter? Don't tell me that you've gone and dropped the flipping thing. No, I didn't drop it. I mean, I had it just a second ago. I'm sure I did. Are you saying someone made off with it while you weren't looking? Well, you'd know a thing about that, or two about that, wouldn't you? There you go, bringing up ancient history again. Look, you're the one who lost it. Don't go blaming me. I had it all this time, I swear. Stop fighting, both of you. If it's missing, then we have to find it and fast. You're not wrong, Ollie boy. Let's ask some folks around here if they've seen it. Well, I was already asking folks. And now the game is telling me to talk to people. Alright. It is weird that there's this whole gate here. And it leads to nothing. I will say it's probably better that we didn't just immediately walk to him and build the Clarion without any challenge. There should be some actual gameplay in this game. Hmm. Hmm. And this whole ghost kid. Still can't swim or anything. Can't read this. Very underused area. It would make sense to for it to be reused later. And the game is just telling me to go back into the main city. So I don't think you actually have to talk to everybody. I think the game is going to cut us a break on that. Yep. Since that telling me to go talk to the shopkeeper. We bought things in that shop already. That was one of our very first quest givers. Interesting that a lot of these are not refilling. You kind of want them to refill a lot more. There's that treasure chest. Just looking everywhere. Let's give him heart. Seems like it would be really easy to have it by default be on the only one that you actually have a piece of. There's a lot of little optimizations here that are bad, to say the least. Like, it's not just the audio awkwardly cutting out. That is another thing. Certainly, but a lack of polish is prevalent throughout the entirety of this game. And I kind of half expect that from most JRPGs. That, and that may just me being jaded. So that does create this problem, certainly, where we may just get a really bad example of a JRPG through this game, and other JRPGs may be out there that are a lot better as far as just being more optimized and thought through and not wasting the player's time as much. Although I kind of question if that's the case, because I half suspect that most JRPGs do waste a lot of the player's time, even the newest of the new. Yeah, honestly, if I was going to become a video game publisher or developer, I would target games like this and say, let me make not a remaster of your game, but an abridged version of your game. Let me make a mod. Let me get rid of all of the grindy elements and the random encounters in favor of a much more Western appealing version of the game that wouldn't be the true version of the game, but it would be a way to bring in a new audience. And there might be a very lucrative deal that you could negotiate where you take a game that's already sold as many copies as it is going to sell, and you release an abridged version of it, and then the code for that abridged version, uh, or effectively it's like a port almost, would then go back to the original owners. Um, so they might decide to do a bundle of the original version of the game with the abridged version of the game. If it works, that could work that way. A lot of times it wouldn't be able to work that way because it would just be very complicated, or it would require learning a lot of different engines and a lot of different types of coding. It would make a lot more sense for the original creators to make abridged versions. Here's that piece of wood. Hello there. Oh dear, you look quite worked up. What's ruffles your feathers? Some dirty, rotten thief pinched us. Hold on a minute. Look over there, Ollie boy. It's the holy wood. Where did you find it, sir? Ah, is that what's cat's caught your eye? Pretty, isn't it? I thought I would make a rather nice window display. A flipping window display? That's holy wood, that is. Don't tell me you're planning on wedging weapons in it. You were, weren't you? Mr. Quartermaster or Quartermaster. Sir, the holy wood is ours. It was stolen from us. Stolen, but I've only just bought it. And for a price that would make your eyes water. Don't tell me I've been rooked. Afraid so, mun. Whoever sold it to you must have pinched it from us, ain't it? Gah, I should have been more cautious. I did wonder how you could have come to buy such a valuable item. So you know the person who sold it to you, sir? It was that young mouse, the one with the glasses. He's always coming around here hawking his wares. Young mouse? Wasn't that the boss in the... Well, glasses. But I never thought he was a thief. No, just speaking because you say he's guilty, that doesn't make it true. If you want me to believe you, you're going to have to bring me some proof. But how can we do that? There's only one thing for it, Ollie boy. We're going to have to catch that mouse and get him to confess. Okay, let's do that. We'll get you proof, sir. Please do it quickly. I'd hate to think I was handling stolen goods. Meanwhile, we'll buy some weapons. Not because we need them, but because we just want one of everything in our bag, and this is as good of a way to end up with that as any other way. Hmm. 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 All right. Let's see if we can alchemically make anything with all those weapons. Can make a poison fang. I already have made poison fangs though, so there's no reason to do that. Oh, this would be so much easier if you just could sort by the ones you could actually create. This is a kind of great example of where video games are based on computers, and computers are supposed to be helpful and useful. They're not supposed to make it more difficult on the person. Yeah, apparently I can't craft a single thing. Okay. Well, good to know. Mouse with glasses. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know why the game is telling me specifically to talk to her. Mouse with glasses. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. Hey, look at that. There is a mouse with glasses. This character's been here the whole time, apparently? Eek, leave me alone. Oh, you peep Squeak, you're the one who tried to make a quick gilder selling the holy wood, aren't you? Squeak, how'd you find me? I'll never do it again, honest. Never. Never in the name, or my name's not Pip. Pip, but why? What made you start stealing? I needed the money, didn't I? Not that it's any of your blinking business. How am I going to make my dreams come true if I'm broke? Your dreams, that's no excuse for stealing. What kind of dreams do you have anyway? Nice try, Dum Dum. You think I'm telling you? I know you'll just laugh at me for being a silly little mouse with big ideas. Crikey, bit blooming touchy, ain't we? There's no need to start to be so flipping defensive, mouse face. Well, we did just corner him, to be fair. Anyway, let's call it this little runt and head back to the quartermaster store, shall we? Wait a second, you guys. Is it just me, or does Pip really remind you of somebody? Oh, is this Oliver's friend in Motorville's soulmate? You might share a soul with someone back in Motorville. I think so, but I'm just not sure who it could be. Pip, would you mind just telling us a little more about your dream? We won't laugh at you, I promise. Why should I? You can't tell me what to do. Why should I take orders from a big baby who sleeps with a stupid doll? What? Is that true, Oliver? No, I don't sleep with a doll anymore. Haha, how grown up of you. But I bet you still drag it around with you everywhere in case you get scared at night, you big baby. In all fairness, he kind of does. That's what Drippy is his doll. I told you, I do not sleep with a doll anymore. I stopped taking Mr. Drippy to bed almost a year ago. Oh, ha ha ha. Now you've done it, dum dum. You all heard him, didn't you? I bet your girlfriend's really impressed now. Stop being mean. She's not my. And I don't sleep with a doll. Cut it out, will you? Just cut it out, Phil. Hey, did you just call him Phil? That mangy mouse name is Pip. I'm sorry, it's just what he said. It sounded a lot like Phil when he's being mean. Blimey. Well, you know what that means. I don't know what you're on about. All I know is you'll never catch me. The rodent is starting to get on my nerves. He's not making things easy for us, is he? What are we going to do, Oliver? Well, it took me a while to work it out, but there's no mistake. He can be kind of mean and real stubborn, but he's still my best friend. I'm talking about Phil. Tidy. I think we've got our man. Just goes to show if you've got a big bully for a soulmate, it might just turn out to be a nasty piece of work too. I get it. Something must be going on with his soulmate to have made the mouse turn to a life of crime. I kind of feel bad. It's been a while since I saw Phil. I hope he's doing okay. Let's go and see Philip in Motorville. Come on, Oliver, there's no time to waste. Ironically, though, there's time to waste. Unless Gateway just automatically would refill your health, or you could sleep at your house, which is an interesting thought too. We should rest first. Yeah, it's only 10G, so it's ridiculously cheap. In fact, if you were just trying to save the gold, you could have at any point, once you had the fast travel, um, just use travel for one magic point. As long as you had one magic point, go back to Ding Dong Dell, spend 10 gold to sleep, and then travel back to where you were. Unless you were, I guess, a in the middle of a dungeon or something where you couldn't just travel. There's been very little gameplay in this episode. And it has us going to our house anyways. So I was going to take a side quest to go check the house and see if I could sleep in my own bed and refill health, but probably won't be a possibility. Guess maybe what I could do is come in here. This house is completely more like a Resident Evil design where there's cameras in the corners of the room, and it clearly is an experiment they tried and realized real fast it didn't work, and instead what they've done is they've, in all the other places in the game, not really had fixed cameras, instead having the player control the camera if there's a real problem, or just having the camera directly behind Oliver at all times. We cannot sleep in our bed, it seems. And the mother's dead body is not in the bed. Yeah. It does very much seem like if you brought back Alicia as the soulmate of the mother, the the mother's body is going to have to climb out of a um, coffin. That's going to be grotesque. Hmm. Yeah. It's kind of is they kind of stopped having characters um, say random repeated lines of dialogue, which I probably figured out that was annoying also. I mean, I want to do a fight in this episode. I mean, in all fairness, I could just end the episode here, but um, basically we would have barely done one fight in the entire 2 hours. Phil, oh, it's you. Come to get even, huh? Even for what? All I wanted was to build an auto on my own, a hot rod faster and funner than any other. Sure you did, Phil. It was what we both wanted. But my dream, it killed somebody. Gee, it it killed your mom. Don't say that, Phil. Don't ever say that. It wasn't your fault. I don't want to worry you, Ollie boy, but there's a funny look in your mate's eye. At a certain level, yeah, he did kill the mother. He didn't intend to do it, but his recklessness of void of ambition, which I guess is the last piece of heart we need. Like, let's see. Let's see if unleash storm damage. I don't know if any of these would actually work. So let's start with just like ward. Hmm. Like, Phil building a car is just like a really, really, uh, yeah, light attacks are what we should go for, and not unleashing, which I'm going to have to learn. The light attack is now the second bottom spell or third bottom spell. Hmm. Hmm. Um, so we're using now, it feels like 3 less to cast Arrow of Light. It was, I think, 14 before. That's not a halving of the cost, which would have been nice, but it's not terrible either. Hmm. Hmm. I'm confused, so if I throw out my character, hmm. 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 I go back to this. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see, spells, heal myself. Hmm. Completely. Hmm. Hmm. And when they start, it definitely does not feel right that as soon as they start doing the animation, you can't press the all out defense button or the all out attack button to counter it. You can't really press anything. I hate to suggest something that most people would hate and cliche, like a button quick time event, but honestly, if you've got no other idea, a quick time event might be the move to go with in this one. Um, and, hmm. We still might very well be in a weird position where uh, using alchemy to get better versions of things is still more expensive than just eating the items in the first place. And I don't think any of these nightmares really have a trick where you get a chance to counter or anything like that. If there is a way to do that, it doesn't seem like it's particularly easy to pull off. I guess maybe I'm supposed to be blind. Hmm. 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 I'm still not sure if you actually need to be closer to do more damage. Burning Heart. Showstopper. But you would assume that that's a fire showstopper. And that did like 400 damage and it still didn't kill him. It's ridiculous. Maybe I should have done burden on the guy. Hmm. Hmm. Well, definitely compared to that bounty hunt, that was a lot easier. It was still fairly difficult, though. Like, There's definitely room for improvement. Hmm. So the question is, if we get XP and level up faster, we'll increase our defense. And I think that is the smarter move. Phil, God, all of it. It's all my fault. Uh, yeah, I think getting more XP and leveling up faster is probably a smarter move than walking around and being able to heal, um, heal yourself. Flipping heck, the poor lad's still brokenhearted. Philo, you must really hate me, Ollie. I guess we're not friends anymore, huh? No, I never said that. It should have been me. It should have been me in the car. It should have been me in the river. That way your mom would never have had to save you. That way she'd still be alive. It would be a pretty terrible adult of any kind or parent of any kind to see their child's friend fall in the river and not save him. Um, that is kind of ridiculous. That it's pretty much should, if you see a child fall in the river, you should save them if you're an adult and you can possibly swim. Um, Even if you can't swim, you should try and save them. You can't think like that, Phil. It won't change anything. Now, I have to say, getting back to the emotional aspect of the mother dying, 45 hours into a JRPG is kind of crappy because we have not, or I've personally totally forgotten about it, totally disconnected and disassociated with any emotional relationship I might have with it. I've been playing for hours and hours and getting bored with the game, grinding and fighting monsters. Um, and the story itself is definitely going on a fantastical adventure that just does not work well set against the backdrop of trying to save your mother's life or resurrect your dead mother in this case. You can't think like that, Phil. It won't change anything. What was I thinking trying to build a car? If I hadn't built that hunk of junk, none of this would have ever happened. Phil, this isn't what my mom would have wanted. She wouldn't want to see you like this. We were trying to make our dreams come true. We were trying to make the neatest car in the whole world, remember? Yeah. Even if this is like a variant on the real world, little kids, like 10-year-olds, should not be building cars unattended. Should not be working with gasoline or combustion or steam or any kind of thing that would have to power an engine. Even if it were like an electric vehicle, there's just too much risks in the amount of speed and torque that a device like that would provide. Now, under the strict observation of a intelligent, trained person, yes, I think 10-year-olds could be involved in making a car, but I don't think they should be probably the ones driving it either. Um, the closest equivalent to the real world is the electric bumper cars, or the I guess they're gas go karts. Um, and in those situations, there is at least the pretense of a lot of safety procedures and a lot of observations. Arguably, some of the go karts could very much be poorly maintained or very dangerous for kids to drive. And at a certain point in modern days, kids being interested in driving cars is not something you even should encourage because almost every car in the future will probably be automated and they will just never really have an opportunity to drive cars or a need to do that. Um, and I don't think we'll see a lot of value in things like NASCAR or racing in the real world when you get almost the exact same experience in a virtual world with a lot more safety. Um, yeah, a car crash in a racing game can do a lot of damage and kill a lot of people, where a car crash in a video game doesn't really do any damage. Let's continue the story. our dreams. God, who cares about our dumb dreams? But, so he punches him. Didn't you listen to what I said? Your mom's dead because of our dumb dreams. So what did I do now? So what do I do now? Build another car, mess it up again, get somebody else, get them. I can't. Listen to me, Phil. Now, I almost wonder if this ambition is going to come directly out of Oliver and go into Phil instead of us having to go find ambition from somebody else. My mom would never want us to give up on our dreams. I just know it. You remember all those times we'd sneak into the car factory? Remember the old guy we made friends with there, the engineer? Oh, this is even worse. There actually was an adult that helped him. He told us all about cars, didn't he? And we promised him we'd make a car better than anything Motorville had ever seen. Sure, my mom used to tell us that we had cars on the brain, but when she heard us talk about our dream, she'd smile. She never really got mad at us, did she? I remember. She wanted us to follow our dreams. I know she did. Follow our dreams? This really should be voiced. Like, really should be a voice cutscene. I know it's what my mom would have wanted. You can't give up on your dreams. Huh? Well, I didn't see this one coming, Ollie boy. It's your own heart that's making the locket glow. Your heart's brimming with ambition. I should have known. But what am I supposed to do? Can I really take a piece of my own heart? Well, it can't hurt to try now, can it? And it'll make a change from borrowing from other folks. Go on, man, give it a go. Okay, here goes. See, if you were going to get really complicated, it'd be funny if Shadar intended for Oliver to take pieces of heart from a whole bunch of people because that would leave them vulnerable to be heartbroken later on. And so Oliver has just been naively doing exactly what Shadar wanted this whole time. It would make a lot of sense, certainly, if you had a piece of your heart taken, even if you thought you had a whole bunch of extra of that piece of heart, that it would leave a hole or leave you vulnerable or weak. And I suppose philosophically there's a real problem with the idea of giving emotions or pieces of heart from one person to another, drastically changing who they are, particularly when it seems like sometimes these brokenheartedness effects have nothing to do with an external force like Shadar. Like, Jeepers Creepers, that sure felt strange. I guess that must be how all the people who helped us felt, huh? Nice one, Ollie boy. I told you it was worth a try, didn't I? Hold on, Phil. There's something I need to share with you. It'd also be kind of interesting if he ran away and then you had to like chase him, knock him down, and then forcibly force the heart into him. Although that would be maybe a little creepy. It's already a little creepy. At least we now know what each piece of heart is, and ambition does not feel really any different than any of the others. You'd almost have assumed that love would have been the last piece, but I guess narrative reasoning made it ambition. I still suspect there might be a case where we need to get one piece of each heart to put into Shadar at the final boss battle. But it might very well be a case that we don't get pieces of heart very much at all in the next 10 hours of gameplay. Huh? What is this? I feel kind of warm inside. I don't know what's wrong with me, Ollie. I can't stop crying. But I feel all warm and fuzzy too. You know that is, Phil. That's my mom trying to tell you something. She's telling you never to give up on your dreams. Never give up? That's right. And we don't want to let my mom down, do we? So that means we have to keep on going, keep on chasing after our dreams. I can't let my mom down. I won't. It's also an interesting thought, certainly, where Oliver has not given a single thought or even considered uh, that he may go to the other world and spend most of his life in the other world after all is said and done. He thinks he's just going to save his mom and come back to Motorville, and that'll be that. Whereas, almost certainly in these fantasy stories, the main protagonist has some connection that continuously draws them back to the other world. You're right, Ollie. I won't give up. I won't give up on my dreams, on our dreams. And it is weird that Oliver still has a dream to build a car when he's doing all this way more interesting magic stuff. I guess if you're obsessed with cars, though, you're obsessed with cars. And I guess that means if he builds a magical car like device, he probably would accomplish his dream. And that's a promise, Ollie. Phil. Well, here's the problem. You have an animation of a hug here. Here. And yet they weren't willing to even show a hug between Kublai and Kulan, who we know are in love. Um, so the most closest relationship we are being shown in this game is between Phil and Ollie, who are just little boys, and you could certainly go in the fan fiction of them maybe having some romantic interest in each other, but the game's not gonna say anything like that, uh, or go in that direction. Phil says, I'm going to study hard and go to college, and then I'm going to build a car that's safe, a car people can rely on. You see if I don't. You'll hold me to that, won't you, Ollie? Sure I will, Phil. Now there's one thing I gotta tell you, Ollie. If you're gonna keep dressing like a weirdo, I can't be seen with you. What? Oh, these clothes. It's not what you think. Nah, it's okay, really. If you want to dress like a crazy, who am I to stop you? Now I've got important things to do. See you around, kiddo. And Drippy and Esther and Swain, totally not involved in that interaction at all. To tell you the truth, Ollie boy, I didn't know you if a nabbling a nugget of your own heart was going to work. Well, looks like it worked fine, Mr. Drippy. Phil's back to his old self. So at some point we may take 3 pieces of heart from Oliver, 3 pieces from Swain, and 3 pieces from Esther, and maybe some pieces even from Drippy. Question mark, question mark, question mark. I've been waiting for ages. Where is he? Oh, says P. Huh? Hey, what's wrong with him all of a sudden? Oliver, I've been waiting. Where were you? P, what are you doing here? This is my house. P, you mean P's here right now? She's always there. Yes, she came right out of my house. But how did you get inside? Easy peasy, I can open any door I like. Listen, P, I'm not sure I understand. Who were you waiting for? You silly. I've got something to tell you. Oliver, are you sure you'll be alright, whatever happens? Even if you find out the truth? P may be the person that leads Oliver to realizing that his mother really is dead and that there's no bringing her back. Although, if you go through the boring interpretation that this entire game is just happening in his head, that would be pretty depressing reveal. And it's always weird if a hallucination tells you you're hallucinating. The truth. I'm worried about you, Oliver. Are you sure you'll be all right? Well, I'm not exactly sure what it is you're worried about, P. But as long as my friends are with me, I'll be fine. You don't have to worry about me. Good. Oh, Oliver. What is it? I'll always watch over you. Okay. Thanks. What did P have to say, Oliver? We only heard what you said. P may also just be the reincarnation of the mother. Um, she said she was worried about me, so I told her I had my friends with me and that I was going to be okay. Of course you are, Ollie boy. You've got the High Lord of the Fairies on your side. It's been a long time since he used that full title, and I very much appreciate it that it's been a long time since he's used that title because that was stupid. Hey, and don't forget me. We've been traveling through a fair few scrapes, and we're still going strong, ain't we? As if he'd forgotten you, Swain. Thanks, you guys. It means a lot. Now Phil's back to his old self. Let's go see Pip. Right, back we go to Ding Dong Dell. Yep. There's no shops or anything to buy anything here. It would probably be nice if there were shops to buy something here. Alright, well, so cast gateway. Hmm. Hmm. And we'll have to go talk to Pip again. I can see there's a new quest. Hmm. Hmm. These two are always getting their heart broken. It's ridiculous. Just like enough already. Break up, you two. Do I have any spell that would wake somebody up? Nope. Mm-mm. There are no more quests or people with quests around here. It'll be a long time before I have enough to redeem any stamp cards. My only thought is that there would be a whole bunch of new errands. I could just fast travel all over the place if I needed to or wanted to. No new bounty hunts. I feel like all my health and magic got restored after that fight just because they scripted it to be restored. Don't think I have anything that's metamorphosable. Arguably, these may all be at their top tier levels anyways. That may just be the end of metamorphosable characters. Yeah, and I am just kind of leaning towards the idea of getting more XP as soon as possible. This guy has a new trick we can pick. Let's see. This one's already equipped. And then just make sure we have weapons, tricks attacked. As far as their fullness, I could probably give this guy full upgrade, but I don't think we'd want to do that. I need to once again figure out what happens if this familiarity gets to the highest. Does that all of a sudden double his attack or something, or is it does it really do nothing that's that important? Guess we could look at our inventory now that we're trying to just have one of everything in our inventory. We are 30 minutes shy of having played this game for 50 hours, according to the in-game counter. There's a lot of stuff. And then our wand got moved over here. Spirit of the Snow. Ooh, we may be screwed here. Spirit of the Woods, Spirit of the Temple, Spirit of the Flame. Okay, no. We're fine. We just got this other Spirit of the Snow later, so we can try and organize some things here. We could try and put the costumes in order too. There is a possibility then the proof of wits, proof of friendship, proof of strength might also play some role as being useful. I still feel like we are on the verge of upgrading Esther's weapon. This is plus 32 regular damage and plus 63 magic damage, whereas hers is plus 5 damage plus 11 magic damage, and his is plus 18 physical damage. Let's see. Skeleton key unlocks the door to the casino, I think. And then the Wings of Xanadu is something that we probably will never use. But then the Cherub's Wing is an ingredient. Whereas I don't think there's a single other item here that actually is an ingredient. I can't help but really feel like we barely accomplished anything. It just seems like it took a lot of time to accomplish very little. And we still are at a place where I should probably check this. Like Mimic here as a spell. For some reason, this spell is not like in the list of spells. Why is that the case? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's definitely, this feels like this is the a Wiimote gimmick. Form familiar gateway. We've done all of these. Travel, levitate. But then second self here. For some reason, this hasn't been unlocked. Vanish hasn't been unlocked. Then you have entire pages that you haven't. It doesn't even tell you what the spells are. Fuse. Produce wondrous new items that are greater than the sums of their parts. Interesting. So maybe that'll be a way to make better equipment. Then you have another whole page. Loaf of life. Open mind. Yeah. It would really suck if it turns out that these spells just are not things you even use or can use in the game, and they are just teases potentially for a sequel. Quake. I thought Quake is one we already have, but maybe that's a different spell. Otherwise, the question is, why would I be able to do Quake? And not do some of these other spells. No, I think it's Pulse that we can do, not Quake. Werefish. Turn into fish. Werecat. Turn into cats. Shrink. Shapeshift. Wow. Well, that definitely opens up a lot of doors for potential future spells, assuming they are potential spells. We have yet, as far as the overworld map, to be told we actually need to go to each of the stones. So, yeah, I guess that will happen later. And moving around this map is still a nightmare. Yeah. Looking at the progress report, our Wizard's Compendium is at 68%. Creature Compendium, I don't think would have moved at all because we didn't really capture any creatures. At 45%. Task completion is up to 61%. Alchemy completion is up to 20%. So at some point we did something to go from 18% to 20%. Maybe it really is just a counter where I just need to craft a bunch of things with alchemy to get that number higher. The hidden treasures would help with that, certainly. We're at 54 out of 100. I think we probably will take a break from moving the story forward right before we fight Shadar, or get to the place where we think we might fight Shadar. And at that point, we'll run around and do some more side quests. That may be a mistake. Actually, it may be better to run around now and do more side quests. It is just whether or not I could get 4 more stamp cards done. I need about 8 quests to do that, and between the bounty hunts and that, I think there's barely 8 quests. So that could be very much a hassle. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.